in Marshall, Texas, as we're live on the ETBU Sportsnet with ETBU Extra. Hello, I'm Mike Minkoff along with Jason Souls. Of course, remind you that each Wednesday from noon to 1, if you're in Marshall or Harrison County, stop by and eat lunch with us. The buffet, including the drink, is only $5. Highly recommend you to spend time with us each Wednesday here at CC's in Marshall, Texas. Now, our guest on the program today is the quarterback for the ETBU Tigers, Josh Warbington. He's a junior from Hallsville, Texas. The Tigers this past Saturday won over Sul Ross 45-30. In the ball game, Warbington went in needing 3 touchdown passes thrown to tie a record set by Phil Van Cleve of most career touchdowns thrown in a career. Not only did you get the 3, Josh, but you got to the 4th. Did you know going in the ball game that that record was attainable for you?
Yes, sir, I did. Coach Ergel told us Friday walkthrough that, Tyler had a certain number to get a record. I had 4 touchdowns to break the record, and then Steve had a few yards to get for 1,000. So he enteraced that to us, and just something to strive for to go get, and something you can just have onto your name.
When you drop back the pass and you've got your offensive line in front of you, how much do you trust those guys in front of you?
Oh, I trust them with everything. Our O-line is the best in the nation, and they some of the sacks they give up is not their fault. Most of them are not. I step up too much, and I go one way or another, and the D linemen get me. But I trust them guys with everything. They have great push up front for run. They have great pass pro, great pocket for me to step up and make a big throw.
Scary bunch of dudes, our offensive line. Do they give you a hard time when you take a sack that you shouldn't?
Sometimes they do, especially if it comes from the right side. Tyler Scott, he hardly ever gives up a sack. And especially like if I roll out and the guy brings me down, he kind of just helps me out, says sorry, and I just start laughing. I was like, "It's all right, man. Don't worry about it." Because, every blue moon, the D lineman's going to win, and you don't want them to, but they're going to, and we kind of shake it off and just play the next play. We had one sack happen last week, and we bounced back the next play. I threw a big pass, and we ended up scoring on the drive. So, you just got to bounce back from it.
So how much are those receivers when Tyler had his second touchdown? Does he come back to you and say, "Hey, man, I'm open every time"? Are those the kind of guys we have on our team?
All the receivers are always open. It's hard just to pick one. You got to. I have a progression to go through. I have to read the field, read the defense, see what they're in. So but as far as our receivers, they're the best at what they do, and they always get open. And I always try to pick the one who's most open and give it to them.
Talk a little bit about the difference between Hallsville, a little bit more of a, I don't want to say traditional offense, but you did not have the opportunity to throw as much in high school, and coming in, you got to get the keys to this Porsche of an offense. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how that transition's been for you. Yeah,
at Hallsville, my junior year, we put in the spread offense, and it really wasn't a spread throw attack. It was more of spread zone, and so we really didn't throw it a lot. We did a little bit more my senior year. My coaches trusted me more with throwing it. We had great receivers. But as far as running the ball, we did that more at Hallsville. Here at ETBU, we still run a true spread triple option. And, my coaches, my receivers, they all trust me throwing the ball. So and we have the receivers and the athletes to get open. We have the O-line to give me a great protection. So as far as throwing the ball, we do it a lot more here. Especially with yards and numbers wise.
Does your arm ever get tired throwing 40 to 50 passes a ball game? How do you feel after a ball game?
Oh, sore. My arm sometimes, most of the time, it's hurting just because how much I throw the ball, and then especially if I run the ball or something, I get hit. I always land on my shoulder. I try not to. I'll try to fall the other way, but sometimes I fall on my shoulder, and it hurts a little bit. But as far as that, it's just sore from just throwing the ball so much.
In baseball, Jared Hood, the Tiger baseball coach, he charts his pitchers, and pitchers only get so many pitches of the ball game. I hate to see Scotty Walden say, "Oh, sorry, when we get to 50 passes, you got to come out, Josh." That's terrible.
That would be, because more passes means more opportunities, and so I'm just really glad that I can just get it out to my receivers as much as I can.
Tigers with their first conference win this Saturday as they beat Sul Ross State 45-30 to move their conference record to 1-2, 4-4 on the year. 2 ball games left. Hardin-Simmons on the road in Abilene with a 1 p.m. kickoff, and then the final game regular season against University of Mary Hardin-Baylor. Even though the conference championship was one of the goals of the year, that's not there anymore. What motivates the Tigers to win these next 2 ball games?
Well, these last 2 ball games, really, it's just more of winning. Like, we want to come out and win and have a winning season. That's something that hasn't been done here in a long time, and that's something we really want to do, is have a winning season, and also records. I mean, we know our conference championship is not there no more, so right now we're just focused on winning and then also setting records.
6-4 if the Tigers win the next ball game. Let's hope that happens. One final question, Josh, as your team faces Hardin-Simmons this Saturday. What kind of scouting report can you give us about that team and what the Tigers need to come away with a victory?
Oh, they're very sound and disciplined at what they do. They're not going to disguise a lot of stuff that they do, but they're going to be very disciplined. And especially coming from last week against Sul Ross, they were just kind of wild and young team as far as, because they got a new defense this past year. And so, but Hardin-Simmons, they're very sound and very disciplined, so they're going to be in their spots where they need to be. They're not going to miss very many tackles and stuff, so we're going to have to make sure that we're on our game.
Josh Warbington, our guest here on ETBU Extra. Josh, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I want to give a plug for your church. He's a member of Mulberry Springs Baptist Church, where he knows the pastor very well. His pastor is his dad, Dr. Daniel Warbington, an ETBU alum as well. His wife, Julie, works in the ETBU registrar's office. Josh, best of the Tigers this Saturday.
So thank you.
All right. Josh Warbington has been our guest on ETBU Extra. When we come back, we're going to talk with a member from the Office of Student Affairs at East Texas Baptist University, talking with Billy Baker next on the ETBU Extra show. Back from CC's Pizza in Marshall, Texas in just a moment.